All right, aloha. I say aloha because I'm wearing a Hawaii shirt that used to represent our logo for Hillwood. We went to the Block H recently, so this shirt now is just a Hawaii shirt. So joining us on this is SEC After Dark. I'm Corey Burton. Joining me is Jake Thomas, Stephen Willis, and Jeb Beecham. Jeb, how you doing, man?
That's really funny, Jeb.
Jeb, dude, you're hilarious, man.
That's
so
funny. This is some of the best analysis you've done, bud.
Yeah, you can take the rest of the night off, man.
Yeah, seriously, you're good. You got it. And y'all are losing to LSU in basketball right now, so
congratulations in front. But hey, I got a question though. Like, if no one's there to watch it, did it really happen?
Good point.
I don't know if that's the case. As far as we know, Ole Miss is undefeated.
Big game for y'all tonight.
No, it's not.
Georgia got shellacked by Arkansas last night. So I'm singing some Georgia basketball blues. So Jeb came in costume. I love it, man.
Mm-hmm.
Jeb, you are so dedicated to the cause. But this is SEC After Dark. We have a lot to talk about. But first, we are presented by betonline.ag. I have learned since joining BetOnline that I have no idea how to bet on basketball. But you can do that. With the Super Bowl being over, we moved to, well, you can still bet on football. That's called the XFL. I want to talk about some of the rules, some of the rule differences that we might want to incorporate into college football, but that's down the road. But you can bet XFL, NBA, NHL, Major League Baseball very soon, esports, college basketball, all of that. You'll always find the latest odds, team matchup info, player news, and game trends at BetOnline. BetOnline features live betting, free contests, live scores for almost any sport or game imaginable. We're the fastest and easiest way to bet all your favorite leagues and events. So head to betonline.ag to join and receive your 50% welcome bonus with your first deposit. So make sure you use that promo code BLEAV, that's BLEAV, to receive your rewards. BetOnline, it's where the game starts. Gentlemen, we got, like I said, action-packed show. Lots to talk about. Not sort of at all. We're gonna come out swinging here. This Brandon Miller story. If you haven't heard, if you haven't heard, you probably haven't been paying attention to college basketball. But Brandon Miller, it was reported that he provided the gun. He went and met some dude like in the middle of the night, gave him the gun that was used in the murder of that mother. That's in the case. That's the short version. So the conundrum is, what's happening legally, what's happening with Alabama basketball. Nate Oates is right now seems like he has his head in the sand. He's going to continue to play Brandon Miller. Whatever opinions that you have on that, I guess we're about to pontificate all of that. And Steve, I'll let you go first, man. So to read the headline, what is the what with this story?
The what is slimy, right? It's something you hear about it. You need to go take a shower. It's just dirty. And but I think what we're finding is there's a difference between right and wrong and legal and illegal. This kind of toes that line. So at the end of the day, if Nate Oates wants to continue to play Brandon Miller, there's really nothing that can be done because, honestly, if you don't play Brandon Miller right now, you open up the University of Alabama, Nate Oates and all that to a lawsuit to hampering his professional career and all that. So there's a decent amount of money that could come into that as well. So this is just a horrible situation, and I would be willing to bet that, honestly, Nate Oates, Alabama, everybody involved just wants this to move out of the news cycle as quickly as possible.
Yeah, and they're hoping it does, but I just don't think it will. I mean, you're starting to get a lot of mainstream media on this, including, Clay Travis, whatever your opinion is on him. He's dug his claws into it, so he's got that stirred up. So it's on the forefront of a lot of people's minds. But part of me is like, okay, you're Brandon Miller. In about a month, you're going to be drafted in the top 5, if not the top 2 or 3 in the NBA draft. what in the hell are you doing, messing with guns and messing with all of this crap? What are you doing? Because you have a lot at stake here, and now I don't know if that's going to affect his draft stock now that this thing is hanging over his head, even though there's nothing that's been levied legally. But still, NBA GMs are going to be a little weary of hey, this guy's involved in this situation. We drafted number 1 overall. How do we know that he's going to stop this kind of behavior? So why is he engaging in this? And now it like you said, Steve, it goes over to Nate Oates. Why in good faith would you put Brandon Miller out there knowing what you know and potential cover up? And there's a lot of things and a lot of murky water in this scenario that it's gonna get rough before it gets better.
Mm-hmm. There's a lot of blue check mark people who just runs with a story without checking facts. I mean, there's more that come out today, but overall, the DA yesterday in the little court hearing said that as of now, there's still nothing that they can, arrest Brandon Miller for at this point in time. And there was a report that came out today, I believe, that claimed that the gun was actually registered to Miles. It was just in Brandon Miller's Jeep. So and then
he returning it to him.
Yeah. So that's another one that's come out today. So I'll let me say this, and I've heard this since I was a kid. Nothing good ever happens after midnight. So, and I know you're a college campus, and these bars and these nightclubs and stuff stays open after midnight. But man, when you're in a situation like this, you got to stay out of incidents like this. I mean, you're about to be a stud in the NBA. And Alabama itself, they're back to prominence a little bit in basketball, and now they got this dark cloud hanging over them. So,
and even if it, the facts are facts, and but the court of public opinion is just not gonna. And I know you can't really judge things on the court of, public opinion, but things get said, things get swirled around, and now this is at best this is a major distraction. At worst, Brandon Miller could be spending a good amount of time in prison. So, and then there's anything in between that's possible. So it's just not a good scenario, not a good look for Nate Oates. Maybe suspended pending the investigation. Wait till it clears up. I don't know. I mean, that's a tough call.
I don't think you can. It's at the point where if his draft stock is going to fall because of this, and who was the number 1 player, surefire to be taken in the NBA draft, he might go 5 or 6 now. If you suspend him, he might drop out of the first round. And that means he's going to lawyer up and everybody, because there's no charges against him. The only thing that's going on right now is public opinion type stuff. And at the end of the day, this is the thing. They might can yell at you. They might can be loud about you, but there's nothing they can really do. And you cannot legally prevent somebody from making a living because you think they are a bad guy. There has to be some sort of a legal basis to do it. And I think Nate Oates, he handled yesterday terribly. Yesterday was absolutely a clown show. The wrong place, wrong time thing. That was horrible. But
he apologized for it afterwards.
Yeah, and I think that made this a little bit worse than it was, because he's actually in a little bit of a pickle right now, because there's no legal justification to take him off the court.
Right.
It's true.
Right. Yeah.
Now, I mean, coaches have gotten creative with this type of thing where guys are looking at possible trouble, and they create some sort of injury. Hey, this guy is out for pulled his hamstring.
Why would he intentionally make his basketball team worse?
Right.
I don't know. I don't,
because that's what you're asking somebody to do. Because if they lose games, you get fired in basketball. That is the environment that we've set up, but people want him to intentionally make himself worse, lose basketball games, because of their opinions, other people's stuff. And at the end of the day, if nothing comes of this, they can open up the university to potentially be sued. Nate Oates potentially being sued. This is more complex than people want it to be. They want it to be simply just a black and white issue.
Cut and dry, yeah.
Yeah, cut and dry. It's not. It is shades of gray. And like I said, there's a difference between illegal and legal and right and wrong. And sometimes wrong and legal are on the same side.
Yeah.
And it just seems like one of those just unfortunate cases for Brandon Miller, the university, Nate Oates. And again, this is regardless of legal, illegal, right or wrong, this is a huge distraction nonetheless.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of things swirling around. So I guess as information comes out down the road and the process kind of plays out and kind of unfolds a little bit and it gets a little clearer, you'll see either, okay, this guy is completely cleared of any wrongdoing, in which case, great. Or it could be the exact opposite, and here you go, and you're like, okay, well, I don't know what the opinion of that is down the road. Like if this thing turns into something really, really bad in the future, is it something that you can come back on Nate Oates with and say, hey, you played a known, is that something that the university can come back on Nate Oates and say, okay, we have cause to fire you? Like that's where it gets murky to me, because, if down the road it gets real bad, then there's a chance that they can come back and say, hey, you played this guy knowing that he, committed a felony and try to cover it up. And, they can kind of spin however they want to spin, or he suspends him now, gets sued for what, I don't know.
I don't know if he's trying to cover it up is the problem.
I'm just saying hypothetically. Yeah. I'm not saying I'm not saying he's trying to, but I'm saying hypothetically, like a lot of what ifs in this scenario.
Cover up gets used a lot in college basketball whenever stuff happens. People to this day will claim that James Franklin tried to cover up what happened at Vanderbilt. Yeah. When that didn't really happen. He was just there. It just didn't go in the way that they wanted it to go. So they tried to connect dots. Like Chauncey says in the chat, a wrongful death suit can absolutely pop up, but it hasn't yet. I think that might change stuff, but as far as criminal liability, you open yourself up to legal action as well by jumping the gun on this and hurting his NBA career, because 2 weeks ago he was going to be the number one player taken. I mean, how does that go now? And when you're dealing with somebody that none of this is going to necessarily keep him from playing in the NBA, it just becomes gray area. This is a horrible, horrible situation. And there's honestly no easy answer. Whenever you read it, you got certain people that are going to attack one way. You got certain people that are going to attack the other way, and neither one of them are necessarily right. You've got to,
because there's not enough facts to say one side is right.
Two things here. Oh, go ahead, Steve.
Yeah, and Alabama fans completely, you saw it on Twitter, just completely brushing everything under the rug, and it's like, no, this is no big deal. That's not what I'm saying. I do not want to be lumped in with them. I'm saying that there's a little bit of gray, there's a little bit of context that needs to be taken.
Yeah. The two things here. Number one, as of now, he is, he's no charges against him, so he's a free man as of now. Number two, like we said earlier, if we tried and took everybody to court on public opinions, we'll be overrun in the jail cells, and we are overrun already now. So, just let the facts come out, and what happens. But like Steve said, it is an ugly gray cloud over. Yeah, right.
It's murky. It's very, very, very murky, and
I don't want to make light of it, but I do want to congratulate Mike Price for not being the talking point for the future of the University of Alabama.
Oh, man.
Good point. Yeah. So, we're going to wrap this topic by saying, I think regardless of what happens, it's going to bump him down a little bit. And a lot of these GMs are going to have to pause for a second and go, okay, why was he in this situation? Is this going to be a problem? Whatever. There's going to be some pause now, regardless of what happens. Like, okay, he put himself in this situation, thankfully got out of it. Maybe, I don't know. But there's going to be that pause. Like when they're looking at their draft board, hey, do we take a chance on this guy knowing that this guy potentially was involved in something like that?
If something comes up a year or two down the road where he is charged, if you take him in the draft, you just jeopardize your team's future potential. So, I mean, there's a lot to weigh here.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff. And
this could turn into an Aaron Hernandez situation real quick where it's like, okay, there's a lot of stuff that got uncovered over the course of the next 2 years that, we didn't know about this guy.
It's always
That's
what
potential.
You don't know, right?
Yeah.
It's always you don't know.
Exactly. And so, obviously I hope that doesn't happen. I hope that he's cleared of any wrongdoing. And none of this, I'm not saying any of this is I'm not saying this is definitive or anything. So don't come at me like, oh yeah, you're accusing him of something. I'm not accusing him of anything, but I'm just saying potentially, hypothetically, if this were to come up, this could turn into a very, very, very sticky situation for his future NBA franchise, probably the Detroit Pistons.
And there's no real easy way to segue out of this. So I'm going to do it with a story. From when I was in.
No, let's let Jeb tell a story. Hold on, let's let Jeb tell a story.
No, Jeb. Go
ahead.
Jeb's watching the LSU game.
He might be the only one.
Yeah. So when I was in A school, I just posted this to Twitter, and I just wanted to let everybody know because this is a lighthearted, different tone of voice joke. This has nothing to do with before. This is a segue so we can start the show. Yeah, this is a palate cleanser.
Yeah.
So my roommate's last name was Fountain. When I was in A school.
Okay.
I was in the Navy. His name was Seaman Fountain. Real thing. This is not a joke. This is not a thing. His real name on his uniform, Fountain. And until he got to E4, he was Seaman Fountain. So just remember, no matter how bad you think you have it, it can be worse.
If your last name is Fountain, you have to join the Army or the Air Force. You cannot join.
There was a guy in A school with me also. His last name was Sinking.
Sinking.
Oh
my God.
No way.
Yeah.
That's a good palate cleanser though.
Yeah.
That's a good way to transition here.
Seaman Fountain. I often wonder what Seaman Fountain is up to these days. He was my roommate in A school. I lived with him for like 3.5 months. And
do you still have his contact information?
No. We lost touch pretty much immediately after A school.
Yeah.
I've never been one to hold ties. Corey, you're the person that I've been friends with the longest just because I've always cut ties. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I feel honored.
Yeah, the same thing. Whenever I got done with high school, I have not spoken to one person I went to high school with again after I graduated.
Oh.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, I cut ties and I move around and I make decisions, and that's just my personality and the way that I work. It's not anything mean-spirited. It's just kind of the way I am.
Well, if you look into a server room in a massive IT firm with all the wires and cords, and like I don't cut ties, so that's what my life looks like. It's just cords at things everywhere.
It's knotted up and everything.
Yep. Some bird's nests and everything. So,
Yep.
So fire hazard. Definitely fire hazard. So I was scrolling the tweeters earlier, and I saw that Netflix has announced a new docuseries called Quarterback.
Oh.
It's following Patrick Mahomes, Kirk Cousins, and Marcus Mariota.
What? Wait. I understand Patrick Mahomes. I get that.
That's a quarterback.
Marcus Mariota?
Yeah.
Are we going to have a series called Coaching that has Bill Belichick and the head of the Atlanta Falcons?
Arthur Smith.
Yeah.
No, they're gonna do. If you have a show called Coaching and you don't have Dan Campbell, you're doing it wrong. No, they're gonna have
Steve Spurrier.
No, it's gonna be Bill. It's called Coaching. It's gonna be Bill Belichick, and it's gonna be Sean Payton and Matt Rule.
Yeah.
They're gonna follow, or Nathaniel Hackett.
Yeah, there we go. There we go.
Coaches, yeah. So the Jets, I don't know if I mentioned this, but the Jets hired Todd Downing as their pass game coordinator. So they're going to have the brain trust of Nathaniel Hackett and Todd Downing running their offense. Good luck.
What are they doing?
Good luck. Good luck, Derek Carr.
With Zach, what is his name? Zach Wilson.
Yeah.
It's going to be Derek Carr. Derek Carr's going to sign with the Jets.
What's Derek? Is he really?
Apparently, he went on a visit and loved it.
What's the love up there?
Do you think he's been mushed like his brother did at Houston? I mean, why would anybody voluntarily want to go to the Jets?
Right.
Of course, the Jaguars made the playoffs. The Lions almost made the playoffs. We're in the upside down right now.
Well, that's just the NFL. The NFL is topsy turvy like that because they do such a good job with the draft and the salary cap stuff spreads the talent out a little bit. Huh?
They haven't for 20 years.
Right.
What? The Lions?
Yeah.
I'm not talking about the Lions. I'm talking about just the NFL in general. Like the parity year in and year out. You have teams that you're like, what the hell are they doing in the playoffs? And you have teams that are, what the hell are you doing out of the playoffs? You have that every year. The Lions are just the latest example this year of teams that are like, whoa, okay, they came out of nowhere and was competitive. If they didn't go on their 1-6, if they didn't start their first 7-1-6, they would have definitely made the playoffs.
And then you have teams like the Saints who are $53 million in the hole for a cat room and have Dennis Allen as their coach.
They can't have a draft. They're gonna so come on down, Mike White. He's going to the Saints.
They're going to have fight songs that they're going to play at the games, and the Saints is just going to be Benny Hill music.
Yeah,
hell yeah!
Just as soon as they come out, they need to bring Gumbo back, bring the paper bags back. It's back, 1975 football. Let's do it.
And Stephen Willis is going to Ray Finkel and the Dolphins,
or the USFL.
Yeah.
Even though I am a lifelong Tampa Bay Bandits fan, and there's no Bandits franchise anymore.
So who are you gonna latch on to?
I don't know.
I might have to start rooting for the San Antonio XFL team. Hines Ward is the head coach.
Yeah, but AJ McCarron did a little work in the last minute and a half this weekend.
He did.
Yeah.
Really, really good.
That's like Tiger Woods going and playing on the high school tour.
He's getting a new chest tattoo. I don't know.
It's just freaking too easy for him.
Yeah.
So, Cass, I love that you love the new intro to our podcast. I'm going to have 3 different intros with 3 different types of music. I'm going to have a hip hop intro, a rock intro, and kind of like a groovy, easy listening intro. It's going to be the same video, but it's going to be different music tracks. It'll be pretty cool.
Florida lost their defensive coordinator. Patrick Toney's going to Arizona.
And they got a new one.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. And they got it from Alabama, Austin Armstrong.
Mm-hmm.
Oh. Another wow.
Yeah, Toney, a 32-year-old wonder kid, and Armstrong's just like him. He's going to go over there and be the defensive coordinator.
So how bad were things if he had to flee Florida to go to Arizona? Is he from Arizona?
No, he's just a young guy. So
but 3 years, he's coordinator in the SEC. Like what?
In 3 years, he's going to be a defensive coordinator in the National Football League, and then he's at 35 years old.
You talking about the Arizona Cardinals or University of Arizona?
The Arizona Cardinals.
Yeah. When you said Arizona, my brain's in college here. I'm why the hell did he go to?
No, he went to the Cardinals. He's on Glennon's staff.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So Gannon's staff. Yeah. Okay, that makes way more sense. Yeah. Okay. I'm thinking he's fleeing for the Pac-12. I'm like, what is he doing? Okay, no, that makes way more. My brain's stuck in college.
The only thing fleeing for the Pac-12 is Apple at this moment.
Hell yeah.
I mean, It's crazy. I'm Big 12 is going to take those four corner schools. I've heard rumors that even Oregon and Washington are trying to do it, but they want to be able to get out of their grant of rights to go to the Big 10 if they come calling. Mm-hmm. And yeah, the Pac-12 is dead man walking right now.
It really is.
Like, bye-bye.
I thought it was the Big 12, but the Big 12 making moves, man. The Big 12 is going to grab those four corner schools, and then the Pacific Northwest is going to join like the Pacific, the I-5 corridor there, and go to the Big 10 with Stanford and Cal.
The way it's going to end up is you're going to have the Big 10 and the SEC that is far and away higher than everybody else. Then you're going to have the Big 12 that's just kind of sitting there by itself. And then you're going to have the rest of the conferences. Mm-hmm. And there's essentially going to be a power 2, a middle 1, and then a group of 7 or something like that, because the ACC is going to sit down there as well. Yeah.
we're playing the 2-1-2.
Yeah.
I honestly, they need to restructure the playoff to where it's basically just the best of the Big 10, SEC, and Big 12, and then have a second tournament for do it like high school where you have classifications.
Well,
like,
they do that already, don't they?
Not within division, not within FBS. They do it FCS.
Well, what they need to do is
they just need to add another layer to it.
Yeah, the Big 3, they just need to break away and then have a tournament for the G5 conferences. Clemson can win some more.
That's exactly what I'm saying.
Yeah.
that is on point to what I'm saying. They need to just add one more layer to the classifications.
I think that's what's going to happen, because these Power 5 schools, these super elite Power 5 schools like the SEC and the Big 10 and even probably the Big 12, the gap is just going to grow and grow and grow. And it's going to look like, honestly, whenever Texas Tech plays Memphis, it's going to look like when Alabama plays Chattanooga. I mean, that's what it's going to end up being, because there's going to be such a resource gap.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be crazy. So in order for those G5 type schools to be able to survive, they need to be able to have something, a national championship that they can play for. That, okay, well, we can recruit kids, we can get transfer kids, and we can actually make some money out of this thing. And like FCS, they have their fundraiser games, and then they go play in their own little tournament. They do pretty well for themselves. Division II, Division III do the same thing. But I just think they need to add one more layer to it. That way, teams that never have a chance can have a chance at something. And this sounds like everybody gets a trophy type scenario, but
yeah.
Honestly, I think it would help the sport.
Yeah, it's no different than high school football. If you are Taylorsville High School and a 2A high school, if it was only one trophy in the state of Mississippi, it would always go to the same school. The Oak Groves, the South Panolas, those big 5, 6A schools are going to win the trophy every year. And those 2A schools that the graduating class might be 55 people, they don't have a chance. So they have these classifications for that reason. That's what FBS is becoming now in the conferences. You've got a guaranteed tier developing.
You give it 10 years and you'll probably see just a playoff being implemented between SEC and Big 10 and maybe potentially Big 12.
I think in a couple of years, in 10 years, that's actually a decent number, because if you look at the ACC grant of rights, that's ending about that point. So that is whenever this is going to happen again. There's going to be some ACC teams that get scooped up by both the Big 10 and the SEC.
Mm-hmm.
And after that, you can start kind of settling into exactly what you want to look like. I mean, you're going to have like potentially a 28 team Big 12.
Yeah, I was going to say you're looking at Big 10 and SEC both potentially getting 24 to 28 teams, and then they just knock it down and do it straight high school style and do a top 32 and just play it out.
Yeah.
So let me ask you all this. You know, we talked about some of the potential moves that ACC teams could make or the SEC could get from ACC side. But what about like Duke? You know, football wise, they're not like they're okay, but they won't have a chance in the SEC unless they start recruiting well. But could they potentially in football go to like a group of 5 and then stay in the SEC in basketball and the other sports, kind of like what Notre Dame does now with their besides football, they do it like basketball and baseball. They're in the ACC, I think, in basketball.
No, I think the SEC and the Big Ten, both of those conferences are kind of all or nothing conferences.
Okay. I got you.
Yeah, the SEC is not going to be. They're not going to be like, yeah, go play in SoCon football and then come play SEC basketball and baseball.
Yeah, if you look at Notre Dame and what the ACC did, this actually is that makes the ACC weak. That's proof that they're weak, right? Because you get them in all the other ones, but you can't get the one that you really want. Mm-hmm. So, yeah.
And both the Big Ten and the SEC have stood firm at like, hey, Notre Dame, you ain't joining our conference unless you join for football. And that's why Notre Dame hasn't picked a conference yet.
Exactly.
You know, geographically, it's big. I think Big Ten's a fit for them. But
yeah, absolutely.
That's just Notre Dame will not let go of that independent status
because they're in the playoff every year.
Mm-hmm. Why would
but
you let that go?
They won't be now. Once it goes to 24, they cannot qualify for a bye. So they're going to be a first-round team if they make the 12-team playoff every year. Mm-hmm. The highest they can get was 5th.
Yeah.
Which, honestly, 5th for Notre Dame, that would probably be a good year. So
then they would screw it up. I wonder who do they – didn't they make a pretty good hire for their offensive coordinator? Who did they hire?
They were going to hire Andy Ludwig, but they wouldn't pay the buyout to Utah.
Yeah.
It was like $2 million, and Notre Dame wouldn't do it.
Isn't that sad?
Yeah. Yeah, it lets you know that Notre Dame's not as rich as you think they are.
Mm-hmm.
Gerald Parker.
Who?
Gerard Parker.
Oh.
So let's see. Looks like Parker is the tight ends coach. So they elevated the tight ends coach.
Okay.
I thought you said Ray Parker at the first.
Ray Perkins? Yeah.
Yeah. No, Ray Parker.
Ray
Who
Parker.
are you going to call?
Ghostbusters.
Oh, God. I knew that. I knew that.
And by the way, just real quick, I sung that at my singer talent show when I was in school. Yeah.
You forgot the air quotes on talent.
Yeah, well, yeah, no talent, but yeah. Yeah.
Must have been slim pickings.
Finished second, so take it how you will. I got beat by a guy who playing Guitar Hero, so felt pretty bad about that.
By the way, this is not SEC After Dark. This isn't even sports related, but I am absolutely obsessed with the show 1923. Absolutely obsessed.
Paramount?
Yes.
Plus?
Yeah.
That's what spinoff of Yellowstone?
Yeah, it's one of the Yellowstone prequels.
Yeah.
1923.
I haven't watched any of them yet.
Yeah. Has Harrison Ford in it. Has Helen Mirren in it.
So I need to watch. So this needs to be on my watch list now that football season is over and maybe over for me as a coach permanently. But Yellowstone, 1923, Jack Ryan, and what else?
What you need to watch, honestly, you need to just go ahead and do the Yellowstone thing. So you need to at least watch some of Yellowstone. You can see our chat. It picked up me talking about this. Everybody picked up and had their opinions on this. So you watch a little bit of Yellowstone, maybe a season or two. Go back to 1883.
Chauncey, sell me on that. Okay.
Yeah. Watch that show, 1883. It's only one season. It's Tim McGraw and Faith Hill. By the way, another fun fact, I grew up 100 yards from Faith Hill's house. She was my neighbor.
Stalker.
Yeah. Yeah. And then watch 1923 after 1883 because you will need to. The prequels kind of go and tell a story. So It's pretty good. Sam Elliott's in 1883. He's
So kind of watch it backwards.
Yeah, start off Yellowstone just so you get a base, and then go back to 1883, and then go to 1923. And 1923 you will be absolutely obsessed of. It's the best show on television. I have not seen The Last of Us, so I can't really say anything about
Chauncey,
that.
sell that to us. Sell it to me. I need to. I don't really know what it is, but
Zombie.
all right. So we
show.
got SEC team to in conference transfers. I can't read apparently. Aggies are convinced that Judkins is transferring to them.
He can't.
He can't.
Yeah, no. If you don't enter the portal before February 1st, you cannot go SEC to SEC.
Mm-hmm.
They can go. You can go from Ole Miss to Michigan. You can go out of conference if you go into the late transfer portal. You cannot go SEC to SEC. They put the rule in place that puts a freeze on getting the portal after February 1st, and this is when rules were different, where you could basically just go and it was no holds bar. But it's like February 1st.
Yep.
Well done. Mm-hmm. So, so just imagine D-Generation X doing the
Suck it.
Yeah. So
yeah.
Judkins is not. Well, he may not be going. He may not be at Ole Miss, but he's not going to Texas A&M. No, he's going to definitely be at Ole Miss.
I don't think he's going to transfer at all because Kevin Smith's the man that recruited him. He stayed at Ole Miss after Kevin Smith left. Now Kevin Smith is back. So he's probably pretty excited about that because Kevin Smith's a hell of a recruiter.
Mm-hmm. And he wrote a hell of a movie with Seven. Kevin Smith. Yeah. Transfers. Alrighty then. What else is new? Georgia sucks at basketball still. Got destroyed by Arkansas.
And Alabama.
We're going to lose 20 games. So,
and Alabama.
Suck it.
Yeah, well, yeah. You guys are taking our spot in that whole regard.
I mean, it would be impressive if we won one extra, got to 19.
Let's transition since we're kind of back on the football talk. Let's transition to that what the Texas AD has said. Making demands, wanting the Texas Oklahoma game to be the 2:30 slot in 2024.
He's not making demands. This is where that comes from. The Big 12 made that game be played at 11, and it was contractually obligated to be at 11 o'clock every time it was played during the Texas State Fair for years. And it got to the point where 11 o'clock became toxic to Big 12 because Fox wanted to put a Big 12 team as the big noon kickoff and all of that. They're taking this opportunity to make it just a little bit later in the day to make it to where their fans can see it. It's not demands on the SEC.
Okay.
It's just what they want.
It's just what they want because the 11 o'clock time slot has gotten so toxic to those two schools in particular. If you listen to Oklahoma talking about their 11 o'clock games that they've had over the last 3 years, you can see the steam coming out of their ears. This isn't a demand of the SEC. This is more of a FU to the Big 12.
I got you. As for the primetime game at 7, then.
No, but it's in the middle of the fair. They probably can't do it at night. Okay. Yeah, because
that's the same weekend as Georgia, Florida, right?
No, that's Halloween weekend. It's this the same about October, the weekend of October 1st, the last week of September, first week of October.
I swear, I thought it was Halloween because it would roll. I swear it rolled from Texas OU to Georgia, Florida to whatever else.
No, it's a relatively early game, and it's because that's just when that fair happens. It happens in September, October, every year.
Yeah. So no, that'd be perfect then. Just make it the 2:30 game and let's go. Like, hey, it's a good matchup, good historical rivalry
and
matchup.
Now
I don't have any problem with that.
When Texas and OU comes in, the biggest game is going to be played at 7 o'clock at night. It's going to be a primetime game. The 2:30 CBS game is going to be the ABC primetime game. So that means that the TV schedule is going to change a little bit to where there's not going to be as many night games. There's going to be more of those 2:30 type games. and there's going to be more 11 o'clock. Everybody needs to get ready for that because that's absolutely going to happen because that CBS game is going to be the primetime game 9 times out of 10.
Yeah, so it's going to move to the 7 o'clock or 7:30 slot on ABC with Kirk and whoever. Kirk and Pat McAfee.
We've got a Facebook user that says college baseball needs to chill on over-pitching aces. They're dropping like flies. LSU, Arkansas, and Ole Miss have injuries, need to adjust a lot. No, what needs to happen is pitchers need to quit overthrowing.
Right.
That is the problem. They're causing more strain than their arm can handle. Nolan Ryan has thrown 250 pitches in a game and came back on 3 days rest.
And you still probably pitch today if you wanted to.
Yeah. If you don't overthrow, a 97 mile an hour fastball might be a 92 mile an hour fastball, and that won't be as elite as it could be, but you might have a little bit more longevity. And ask Greg Maddux about actually pitching the ball.
Right.
The guy threw frisbees up to the plate for 20 years and won over 300 games.
Yeah.
But his ball, he could basically place the ball in a thimble.
You know, there's some people in college baseball right now that have that same trait, but they can't use it because they overthrow. If they would refine that, they're probably some supremely accurate dudes.
Right.
If they would pitch and not throw.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, like not.
It's all about the gas, though. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Like, well, their gas is going to land them on the disabled list. So
a lot.
Hit your spots. Let them hit it. Don't throw it down the meat of the plate. Work on your breaking stuff.
Yeah.
Have 3 pitches. Have
you
one that moves a lot. Have a changeup, and then your fastball that you put in spots.
I mean, you got a defense behind you. Let them fill the ball. I mean, you don't have to strike everybody out every single time.
Overthrowing is on pitching coaches. Not really.
Yeah.
I mean, when you're out there and you're juiced up, I think
it's on ego. Yeah, I think it's on ego.
When you're out there in front of a stadium full of fans and you're on TV and you're just trying to make an impression. Yeah, you're going to try to hit that gun at 97, 98 miles an hour, and then your arm's going to go nope.
Yep.
And then your hand's going to go numb, and you're going to get to take the year off.
That's why Tommy John is now very prevalent in Major League Baseball because you have the same epidemic.
And that is going to hurt your draft stock too by being injured.
And those super hard sliders, they are. I go back and forth. That pitch probably needs to be banned
because it's torque.
Yeah, that's horrible on arms.
It's that twisting. It's that twisting, but like not all the way over, like a curve, like a natural rotation of your arm. It's that almost like abrupt stop with a karate chop, and then you're going kind of the other way around and creating that tight spin.
But a curve is like maybe 65, 70 miles per hour. I mean, a slider, some people would throw 90 mile per hour sliders. I mean, there's a lot more torque on it.
If you throw a curveball with the right arm slot and you don't overextend your arm out like this and put strain on your elbow, if you come up more of an L, you get more shoulder into it and you get more action and you get more natural wrist rotation with that curveball.
Nolan Ryan pitched for 20, 25 years with absolute gas and a 12-6 curveball.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And
dude, I used to have this videotape on it's on VHS. It's called Four Aces, and it was the Atlanta Braves pitchers, and it was like a pitching clinic from Tom Glavine, John Smoltz, Greg Maddux, and Steve Avery.
I thought you were going to say Tom Amansky. Hi, I'm Fred McGriff.
back to back AAU national champions. Yeah, no. So and John Smoltz taught me how to throw a curveball. I mean, he didn't teach me directly, but he taught me through the video how to throw a curveball. It all makes sense. And then when I started throwing curveballs, I was like, oh, this doesn't hurt as bad. I still wasn't very good at it, but it doesn't hurt as bad.
You know, when I was 13, 14 years old, the pitching coaches and everything that was going on, no, you don't throw a curveball. 2 pitches. Learn how to do them and learn how to master them.
Yeah.
Throw a fastball, throw a changeup. Figure that out. You know, work how to be effective doing that, and you can learn from there.
That's John Smoltz.
John
So
Smoltz.
Mariano Rivera made a career out of throwing this pitch right here and throwing it like a fastball.
Mm-hmm.
The cutter.
Cutter.
It has just as much action as a slider. You just throw it and it comes off.
Yep.
It has just as much action. So, yeah.
Chauncey, has the Hunter Elliott news actually broken at this point, or are we still just speculating? I know he's not pitching this weekend, but I haven't seen anything final other than they're waiting to hear from people.
Man, that's awful.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because Hunter Elliott, I swear, he throws 88 miles an hour. Nobody can hit him. You know, it's just absolutely fantastic to look at. That's the reason I'm not 100% sure that he is going to need Tommy John. He's not somebody that I think overthrows. I think he actually pitches a little bit. His changeup is his out pitch, not a slider. Just me speculating, but
And sometimes injuries, injuries aren't created equul. So injuries, 100% of injuries to pitchers' arms are not overthrowing. Sometimes it's just bad luck. Sometimes you might just throw one with a bad arm slot. Like you might just make a mistake and you might overextend and your elbow just not used to it and it pops. Or weather gets sore, weather plays a factor in. There's other things in play with arm injuries. So it's not just overthrowing. I don't want to say overthrowing is the only culprit. So like if you throw 88 miles an hour, you're not going to get injured.
They didn't overthrow back there when Tommy John got the injury because he was actually a pitcher from back in the day. I mean, so it happens when it can happen at any point. Just like
pitching is a very violent motion.
Yeah,
right. Pitching is a very violent motion, just in and of itself. Like throwing something, picking up something and throwing it is a violent action. And puts a lot of strain on your joints from your shoulders to your elbows to your wrist.
Yeah. But I would say 10 years ago, you didn't hear a lot of pitchers in the MLB having Tommy John surgery. This has just become prevalent, last 5-10 years.
Pitching mechanics
5 years.
The teaching of pitching mechanics has deteriorated and ego. So mechanics, it used to be you pitch with your hips, not your arm. And now it's I'm just going to how can I throw flames to home plate? How can I throw fire to home plate? And then they're just going to, get everything they can into it. You see it, like pitchers look robotic, like especially right-handers. They all look the same.
Yeah. It's that, do you even lift, bro?
Yeah.
Yeah.
If do you even lift, bro, was a baseball player, it would be a pitcher that grunts his way to 98 on the gun. Hit. And gets taken out in the 4th inning because his arm can't handle it.
I wasn't a very good player, but the era that I played in, like Roger Clemens was going. And granted, everybody talks about him potentially juicing, but that's not the point. The dude's lower body was, he just worked that crap like it was like crazy just because he pitched with his legs.
That's how he was able to pitch into his. That's how he was able to be effective into his late 30s, early 40s, even.
Right.
Like that's how he, his time with the Yankees, he was old.
Yeah, I mean, Andy Pettitte was
effective.
Yeah, Andy Pettitte was effective. He didn't have anything hard and gas. I mean, he just pitched, and
those guys just figure out how to take care of their arms.
Right.
And taking as much strain as possible off your arm is the best way to go.
Yep.
Yeah. So, I mean, maybe they're skipping leg day. Maybe that's the problem.
Might be.
It's TV. Everybody wants to. Everybody thinks that if I hit 98 on the gun, that means first round money. But if you hit 98 on the gun, but can only last 4 innings, you ain't getting drafted in the first round, bro.
No. Another thing is, eventually somebody's going to catch up to that 98 mile per hour ball, and it's going to go way out there.
Yeah.
Oh, speaking of which, this is all. Do y'all know who Kemp Alderman is?
Mm-mm.
He's an Ole Miss left fielder, okay?
Sounds like a politician.
Ole Miss left fielder. Well, an alderman is that. But
Yeah.
last week against Delaware in one game, he had exit velocities of four of them over 110 miles an hour. Only two major league players have even done that.
Wow.
He hit a home run against Arkansas State last night. He hit a home run against Arkansas State this week that got about 25 feet off the ground and cleared the fence. It was a pure line drive.
Wow.
This dude is a monster.
They call those piss missiles.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, that's impressive. But yeah, I mean,
and Eddie Furness's son, a true freshman at Ole Miss, has pinch hit and he's DH'd a couple times. Not many at bats. He's already got 2 home runs.
Y'all got some power this year, sounds like.
Yeah. Eddie Furness, he was on the Gorilla Ball LSU teams and hit about 35 a year.
Mm-hmm.
Just don't, Mr. Furness, just don't join the Navy, okay?
Seaman Furnace.
Seaman Furnace.
God. Come on, man.
Cassie's says, I know this is way off subject, but y'all don't take Zyrtec for y'all's allergies. I do take Zyrtec every day, actually.
I do too, but I need more than Zyrtec.
So supposedly they're in a lawsuit right now because a lot of people that has taken it end up with cancer. So, yeah, well, that's what we was told tonight. So
between that and where I work, it's nice knowing you guys. It's nice to see. Maybe we could do this in the afterlife. I'm screwed. Between mold poisoning, asbestos poisoning. I mean, I'm in a 60-year-old school building.
Oh yeah, you got asbestos all in.
I'm underneath a leaky bathroom, and it's a mess.
Facebook
Zyrtec
user,
thing.
I think his last name is Janisek or something like that. I may be getting that confused with the Miracle on Ice team because I watch Miracle so much. I think but he might be that player. Udermark, there it is.
Udermark.
Seaman Udermark.
Judd Udermark. Seaman Fountain.
Seaman Fountain.
Furnace.
So who does Ole Miss got this weekend? Georgia's got Princeton for the weekend series.
We got the Maryland Terrapins.
Let's see.
That'd be nice.
We got Pepperdine.
Yeah, number 13th ranked Maryland Terrapins.
Big good series.
We played them actually 4 weekend games in a row because they come to Oxford for a 3-game set, and then Ole Miss is in a tournament in Minnesota because somebody was really brilliant to schedule a tournament in February in Minnesota outdoors to where the teams that Ole Miss will play is Maryland on Friday, Minnesota on Saturday, and Nebraska on Sunday.
It's snowing like crazy up in Minnesota right now.
Well, it's Minnesota.
It's going to be cold.
There's only 1 month out of the year where it doesn't snow.
Right.
Right now, I think Minnesota's going to get like 20 inches of snow. Right.
Yeah.
Seriously, it's the worst winter storm in the history of Minnesota is about to hit them, and then Ole Miss is going to go up there a week later.
Sounds fun. Yeah. So too bad they're not still playing in the Metrodome where they could just play indoors. But
yeah,
how you gonna get to the stadium?
Everybody misses the big hefty bag.
Yeah, no, it's crazy. So Kirby Puckett. So I just so did you guys hear about the Georgia White House story? This is what we can end on this.
Apparently, they're not doing a meet and greet or something.
Yeah, they didn't. They didn't get invited, and then all of a sudden, forget which player it was, tweeted like, "Hey, no White House invite. That's tough." And so now they're getting invited.
Wow.
When it comes to White House invites, yes, go up there. Everybody should have to do them, but I think it should be everybody or nobody at this point. I think if you win the national championship in women's rifle, you need to go shake the president's hand.
Because I think it's, regardless of your political standing and what you believe, it's about the office. It's about, hey, I get to
it's
go
an
to
experience for the kids.
I get to go to the White House.
Yeah,
I get to
exactly.
meet the president of the United States of America. And regardless of what you think of him, that's pretty cool.
It's still a cool moment.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's pretty cool to say that I met a sitting U.S. president at the White House and got the exclusive White House tour.
I didn't meet a sitting U.S. president, but I did meet 3 presidents.
I thought you were going dad joke there. I thought you were gonna go. Yeah, I did meet a standing U.S. president.
Yeah, I met W. I met
Washington?
HW, and I think it was.
Was there new taxes involved?
I think it was Gerald Ford.
HW. No new taxes.
Yeah. So the Bushes and I think it was Gerald Ford. I was in the color guard for the Republican National Convention in 2000. I think it was 2000, and they were all in there. I mean, that was a pretty cool thing to see, honestly.
Did you go up to Bush Senior, Bleav? Read my lips. Nice to meet you.
No, his son was about to be my boss, and I did not want to make an enemy that day.
There you go.
So I did not say anything other than nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, Mr. President.
Facebook user says, Steven, what Ole Miss football game do you have circled other than LSU? Obviously, honestly,
the whole schedule.
Alabama circled. Mm-hmm. You have a new offensive coordinator, a new defensive coordinator, a new quarterback, no Will Anderson on defense, and you get them in September. That's probably going to be your best chance to get them, because as the season goes on, they're going to get better and better and better, and by the end of the year, they're going to be that well-oiled machine that we're used to seeing, I think.
To answer that question, obviously Tennessee is circled, but the next game circled is Florida. That game's always circled. Other than that, I really don't have a game circled. I was going to circle the game against OU, but that didn't happen because of they're joining the SEC. We canceled that.
Yeah.
Canceled
That's
that
so weird that you had to cancel the OU game, but Alabama got to keep the Texas game.
Right.
Yeah, it is weird, but is Bama going to? Is Texas coming to Bama this year?
Yes.
So see, the Georgia OU series was spread out, so like it was going to be one-sided. So both schools are like, yeah, they couldn't come to terms on a neutral site probably.
Do you know what I'm really
excited? Problem.
You know what I'm really excited about?
What?
Ole Miss is going to play Georgia at least every other year starting now.
That's going to be fun.
Because since we started this show, Georgia has not played Ole Miss.
Nope. And used to back in the 80s and 90s, Ole Miss and Georgia was an every year rivalry.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That happened. And who do you have circled, Jake?
Well, of course, Tennessee, LSU, of course, for the revenge games. And, of course, Auburn, because it's going to be at Jordan Hare this year, and magic always happens down there. So, you never know what's going to happen down there. So
we'll have to see if Hugh Freeze got to borrow that horseshoe from Gus Malzahn.
Right, yeah. But and Corey, finally, Georgia will finally get to go to Texas A&M because they've never been, correct? Never been out there?
So, in 2024.
Right.
That'll, which will likely get blown right back up.
Yeah.
Again. So who knows? Who knows if we'll actually get to make that trip or not? Because that whole SEC schedule is going to get uprooted.
Yeah. Whoever you play this year, you're going to get to see them at least every other year moving forward.
I can't wait.
And that's exciting because we don't. I'd love to see Alabama every other year. I'd love to see LSU every other year. Arkansas every other year. That was always a fun game. Obviously, Ole Miss. Just seeing some of these Western opponents every other year is going to be a lot of fun.
We see you anyway in the championship game, SEC championship game.
I know, but like regular season, like y'all come to Athens, we come to Bryant-Denny. Like,
right.
I remember when I was in college, we played Alabama. My freshman year, we played at Tuscaloosa. My sophomore year, they came here, and Thomas Davis killed 3 quarterbacks in three straight plays.
Yeah.
It was a thing of beauty.
Who does Freeze have circled? He definitely has Ole Miss circled. He has Alabama circled, and he has Georgia circled.
Mm-hmm. Yep. That's their 3 big games.
Right now, Georgia owns Auburn, and he's trying to reverse that.
Right now, pretty much everybody owns Auburn.
Yeah, I mean, I know that's not much of an accomplishment.
At least they have basketball at this point. But in
They're
football,
they're not that good this year either.
But do they?
I think they had the second worst conference record in the 2020s in the SEC, ahead of Vanderbilt.
That's bad.
Yeah.
With the likes of Missouri and Kentucky floating around out there, that's pretty bad.
Yeah.
So
Kentucky's better than Auburn. Wow, that's wild.
lately, conference wise,
Yeah.
one more conference games.
Yeah. Don't say they're better than Auburn because you're probably going to get everybody's going to bombard you.
Hey, Auburn fans, come hammer Steve.
Yeah. Oh, they do. Oh my goodness.
They do
Oh
anyway.
my goodness. I cannot believe how much Auburn fans hate me. I've got Jake Crane on my show coming up in a couple of weeks. So that should be interesting. That's going to bring Auburn people on there.
Yeah.
Just to find out what Jake has to say.
Yeah. So his God, what the hell's his name that owns Daily Wire? Ben Shapiro. He's letting him out of his clutches to go do other shows.
Well, I think he does other shows.
I just wanted to make
If
a
Dart
Daily Mail.
beats
I just wanted to make a
Sanders.
Daily Mail joke.
No, it's one of those
He has to work
situations
in
where
the-
you can't go SEC to SEC after February 1st.
Yeah. SEC to SEC.
Yeah. But Saunders, what might happen is maybe if Dart wins the job, Saunders can graduate and grad transfer because that would be a little bit different thing. But you need a certain number of hours to be able to graduate from an institution.
Right.
So Sanders might be a little bit stuck. But Jackson Dart, if for some reason he doesn't win the job in spring, if he graduates, maybe he can get out here, not to an SEC school like we said, but he could get out. I think what's going to happen is Lane Kiffin's not going to announce a starting quarterback. You're going to have three quarterbacks that got equal reps for 15 practices in the spring, and they're going to start it up in the fall again.
Which is smart
Yeah.
on his part.
Yeah.
Because, injuries happen. So
And he's got a good situation because one of them guys will graduate, and then Walker Howard just step right in next year. So
yeah, whatever happens, my opinion of the Ole Miss quarterback job is pretty simple. Whoever wins the job is going to win it. Whoever loses the job is probably going to be the third string quarterback, and the backup is going to be Walker Howard because when Ole Miss is up 41-0 on Mercer and you want to get him reps, they want Walker Howard to go in the games and get the seasoning because 2024 is so important. Texas, Oklahoma, expanded playoff, the whole 9 yards. You want to maximize this year to make next year as close to possible to being relevant.
Yes, exactly.
So if you could do that, you will.
So Walker Howard and Quinshon Judkins are playing for A&M next year. Is that what's happening? No, I'm just kidding.
No, and honestly,
I love those rumors.
Yeah, let's be honest about this as well. When it comes to Quinshon, nobody is going to pay Quinshon Judkins as much money as he's getting at Ole Miss. Nobody. They might have it, yeah, but
A&M sure as hell ain't. They're paying a lot. They're paying everybody else.
The number I heard was a little bit north of $500,000. It might be wrong, but if you're getting $500,000 at Ole Miss, you're not leaving Ole Miss.
No.
You're not, because that dude is a celebrity walking around campus there. We haven't had a running back like that since Deuce McAllister, and even then, Deuce was like 300 yards short of what Quinshon did. So
Exactly. So. Our last comment, we'll get out of here with that. I love Jake Crane. We all do. Jake has done a tremendous job. I mean, the time it took for him to go from J-Boy to Crane and Company is head spinning fast. And he's done a tremendous job. We love Jake. Jake's my guy. So
quick update. It is 32-30 South Carolina, and of the 30 points Alabama has put up, Brandon Miller has half of those. He's got 15. So,
good. Hey, what's the score of the Auburn game? The Auburn-Ole Miss game.
Let's look real quick
before we get out of here. I'm thinking Auburn by 15.
Jeb, tell us the score.
No, it's not 33.
What you Let's see. I'm looking. Give me just a second.
You've got mail.
Oh man.
Boom, boom.
Let's see.
Notre Dame is up 27-19 on UNC, who's having a tough go.
Let's see. What is this score? It is 40-33 Auburn at halftime.
What's that score?
40-33 Auburn.
Okay. Okay. Well, that's about right. I mean, all right.
9-7.
Well, Corey, get us out of here.
Let's get out of here. Yeah, we are SEC After Dark. We're on the Bleav Network. We're also on the Ole Miss Conference Network on the video side. Stephen Willis, catch him each and every day on Locked On Ole Miss. Got a lot of great content there. Check him out on social media as well, at the Stephen Willis and at Locked On Ole Miss. Check out his TikTok, Locked On Ole Miss, for his daily morning walks, which I think you play on Twitter too, right?
Yeah, it's on Twitter. It's on Instagram as well.
All right. Jake Thomas, Tide Talk Live. You guys are doing a hell of a job there. And you catch me not each and every day. We're working towards that, but you can catch me more often than we used to on at Bleav In Georgia Dawgs. That's at Bleav In Dawgs on social media. We're on the quest for 1,000 subscribers. We're only 900 short, so subscribe. If the subscribers match the viewers, I'd already be there. So make sure you subscribe, hit that bell notification. You can also find all three of us right here. And then during season, you can find me at Illegal Motion College Football Podcast as well. Jeb, he's in costume tonight, but you can find him right here.
He's anchoring down.
He's anchoring down. So
that must have been a good game he was watching. He didn't say much at all tonight.
Yeah, he was
like
the strong, silent type.
Yeah, he was.
Mm-hmm. He was locked in, guys.
He was.
He was locked on.
He was locked on Vandy.
Yeah. So, but for Steve and Jake and the costumed Jeb Beecham, I'm Corey Burton. This is SEC After Dark presented by betonline.ag. We'll see you back here next week. Same time, same channel. And until then, go Dogs.
Howdy toddy.
Roll Tide.
He's a virus. He's 28. Roll Tide.
Roll Tide, Paul.
Paul, first time, long time. Long time caller, first time listener.